Are you arguing that it's more affordable and more, I guess, accessible in other countries? Let's take Canada, for example. You're saying that their healthcare would be better than the U.S.?
There's better average health outcomes. They spend nearly half as much per individual as we do here in this country. Now, they do have longer wait times for elective procedures, but that's a better problem to deal with than what we currently are dealing with right now in this country, where 130 million Americans are struggling with medical debt, where 45 to 68,000 American lives are lost every single year due to lack of health insurance, where there is the main cause of personal bankruptcy in this country is the fact that people can't pay their medical bills, and that's literally zero in Canada.
But where would you rather receive healthcare, Parker? Canada over America?
I would rather not have to spend tens of thousands of dollars, right, on basic shit that you have to spend out here in this country, but they don't have to in their country.
Listen.
I grew up in Canada. Okay, we have socialized medicine, and I'm here to tell you that this bullshit line that you get on all of the political shows from people is that it's a failure. The system is a failure in Canada. It is not a failure in Canada. I never waited for anything in my life. I chose my own doctors. My mother never paid for a prescription. It was fantastic. And I just got back from Vancouver, and I keep hearing this, like, Canadians are so nice. Canadians are so nice. They can be nice because they have health care. Because they have a government that cares about them. It doesn't say sink or fucking swim, pal.
Right.
Or you live in a box.
Yeah.
There are certain people in our society that need to be taken care of. There are people without as many opportunities that need to be helped toward those opportunities. There are people who are sick.
But that's the...
You shouldn't have to lose your home because your mother got sick.
And look...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you are doing amazing. And if you're new here, you're warmly welcome at Willie Doki Stories. Now, imagine visiting a country and discovering something that makes you stop and ask a question like, why does every country do it this way? How? That's exactly the kind of question Canada's healthcare system can raise. Because behind Canada's famous mountains, beautiful cities, and friendly reputation, there is another part of the country that doesn't always get the attention it deserves. A system built around an idea and sounds simple, but has enormous consequences. When you need medically necessary healthcare, should a bank account determine whether you get it or not? Canada's answer has been remarkably different. But here's where the story gets interesting. It's not simply about free healthcare. There's a bigger story hiding underneath. A story about access, emergencies, families, taxes, waiting times, prescription drugs, dental care. And what happens when a country decides that healthcare should be a shared responsibility? And by the end of this video, folks, you'll understand why Canada's approach continues to attract attention far beyond its borders. So folks, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like my video, and share my video. So I will meet after the videos that I've prepared for you, and we'll meet after the video so that we can talk about more of what's really happening in Canada. Stay in touch.
Perfect, but I just wanted to know overall, do you like your universal health care?
When I gave birth to my son in October of 2020, one of the first things that they looked for was that he had his first poop within 48 hours of being born. 48 hours came and went. He still had not pooped, so they transferred us to the NICU in a different city, and we spent a month there. They ran all kinds of tests, they did tons of biopsies, and they ultimately ended up diagnosing him with a rare genetic disease called Hirschsprung's disease, which affects 1 in 5,000. 3 months later, he was back in that hospital having major surgery where they removed 10 to 12 centimeters of his large intestine. And all we paid for was food and parking, which was expensive, but I don't even want to think about how much medical debt we would have if we did not have universal health care. If anyone has those numbers, I would be interested to find out. I think you would be hard-pressed to find any Canadian that says our healthcare system is perfect, but we do believe that healthcare is a human right. It should be that way for everybody.
When I tell you guys I'm proud to be Canadian,
Here's why. I'm looking for a new dentist, right? So I call this place and I'm like, hey, do you guys have an appointment like soon? The first thing she's gonna ask me is, hey, what insurance do you have? Not even my name, my date of birth, where I'm from, what do I want, what kind of service I'm looking for. They want to know how are they going to get paid. Canada could never. The US, seriously, healthcare in the US is strictly business. They do not care about the patient, how the patient is feeling. What they really care about is how are they gonna get every single penny that they can from you. I was so mad. I was like, you know what? Let me go to a clinic that actually cares about what I need to get done and, you know, who I am as a patient before asking me my insurance. So I told the lady, I said, well, do you not want to know, like, can I please at least know what you have available before I give you my insurance information? Because if you are going to give me an appointment in like 4 weeks, I don't want it. Because I'm sick of them fillings that I have in my mouth. I want to put them all white so it can all match, you know? Not silver, like it's old school. People be like, oh, in Canada, yeah, it's free, but you still have to wait 10 hours to see a doctor. So what? I'd rather wait 10 hours than having to pay like $50,000 just to give birth. Does that make sense to you? Come on, let's be real. And if you are waiting 10 hours in Canada to get care, it's probably because you are at the hospital for something that is not critical. Like you will not expire in the next like 2 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So it's free, you know? So obviously if it's not something that requires medical attention immediately, you are going to wait a little bit. It kind of makes sense. And honestly, I believe that healthcare should be free. And the fact that everything costs in the US, like people literally have to have, like if you don't have good insurance, like you are on your own. Really, that's what it is. You are on your own. So yeah, I'm like so sick of it. Like the US, I'm telling y'all. You probably don't understand it now, girl, but being Canadian is a flex.
Are you thinking about moving to Canada? Well, let me tell you why you should move to Canada. First of all, we have free healthcare. So if you ever get hurt or you're really sick, you can always go to the hospital with the peace of mind knowing that you won't have a massive bill to pay. And that's really important because it's gonna save you a lot of money. Money that you'll need to pay other bills. Like paying $1,000 a month on groceries. Or probably more because the grocery prices in Canada are very inflated due to 2 or 3 companies owning the whole market. Or like paying $200 a month on your phone and internet bills because there's 2 telecommunications companies in Canada that basically own the whole market, so they inflate the prices to whatever they want it to be. And rent, because average rent in Toronto is $3,000 a month. But if you go to the outskirts of Toronto, you can pay $2,000 a month to live in a basement. But if you get a really good job where you save $50,000 a year, you can get out of that basement in about 20 years. Because that's how long it'll take you to afford an average house in Canada, which is $1 million. But don't worry, universal healthcare will cover the depression.
It's going to be hard to fit this into 1 minute, but here we go. I see a lot of people complaining about the Canadian healthcare system, how they think it's broken and how they like the American healthcare system better. Here's my story. This past spring, I was diagnosed with a heart condition that I've had since birth. On June 17th, I was told I had 6 to 8 months to live. I got in for surgery to replace my aorta on October 16th. You can hear the ticking of the mechanical valve that they replaced my aorta with. I did a little research, found that it would, on average, cost about $250,000 to have the surgery, just the surgery, in the US. About $400,000 for post-surgical care for the 7 days that I spent in hospital. I don't have that kind of money. I paid nothing out of pocket. Yes, I pay taxes here in Alberta and here in Canada to help fund that surgery, but I didn't pay the $400,000. I didn't have that in my wallet then. I damn sure don't have it in my wallet now. I'm grateful for our healthcare system, and I'm especially grateful for the doctors, the nurses, and the surgeons who saved my life.
Just in case you don't hate capitalism enough, just remember that hospitals are being intentionally understaffed to maximize profits and put more money into rich people's pockets. That's happening in the US for sure, and in Canada, it's happening in Alberta and Ontario, where they're cutting healthcare staff, nurses, and doctors intentionally to make the healthcare system worse so that they can make room for a for-profit healthcare system. They want to make the public healthcare system worse so that they can put money into rich people's pockets. It's disgusting.
So if you're in Canada and you really need some serious health care, like you need to go to the hospital, you need cancer treatment, you need surgery, it is free. As far as massages, chiropractors, physiotherapists, dentists, things like that are not free unless you have health insurance from your employer or if you pay for your own health insurance. So it's not all free, but a lot of it is free, and it's covered by the government.
U.S. versus Canada healthcare. Which one would you choose?
Canadian healthcare.
Is there a reason?
Yeah, it's free. It's like, it's funny because like my American friends don't get it. They hear the horror stories.
Yeah.
And there are some bad things about, look, if I had unlimited money, maybe the American one's pretty good, but then that kind of defeats the purpose.
That's right.
I love being able to walk in with a card. It doesn't matter if I have a sniffle or a gunshot wound.
Right.
One card, will you fix me? And they're like, yes, come in.
Sure. You might wait.
You might wait.
You might wait.
You know what? I've been in emergency rooms in LA. They weren't fast.
Oh.
I wasn't sitting there going, wow, this is the fastest.
And then, you get 3 bills in the mail.
Oh my gosh.
And it's terrifying.
Oh, the best is when they send you the bill and it's not for you. It's just what the insurance company owes. It kind of looks like it's for you. You're like, what? This is for me? And you're like, no. We just want to let you know.
And God forbid you go to the wrong out of network, whatever the hell that is.
I don't even get that. What is a network?
Canada, one.
I don't think the Canadian healthcare system gets enough praise. Let me tell you a story. For many years, I have suffered with a C6 bulging disc in my neck that gives me pain in my shoulder blade. I have waited over 18 months to see a specialist to get this fixed in the UK. I was paying out of pocket for physiotherapy. Doctors couldn't do anything more because they've already referred me. In Canada though, I booked my own sports medicine doctor. I went to go see him on the Monday. By the Thursday, I'm getting this, which is a cream for my neck to try and release the muscles. And he said, come and see me in 4 weeks. If it's not gone, I'm going to refer you to a specialist and we're going to put an injection in your neck. This process is taking, 6 to 8 weeks? I haven't paid a penny out of it. I've not paid anything. It's all come out of my OHIP. It's all come out of my insurance. It's insane. Yes, I know we pay it through taxes and whatever else, but it is insane how good it is and how efficient and how fast it is. Honestly, it's blown my mind away. I'm so happy about it. I felt like this was something I was going to have forever. But since moving here, I see like a light at the end of the tunnel. It's really good.
Could someone from a country like Canada explain free healthcare?
All right, I'll try. So we pay through our taxes. Simple as that. Everybody pays into the taxes, so everybody just goes to the hospital and uses it. I actually find it really funny that like Americans think it's a political issue because it's not a political issue. Your healthcare is a for-profit organization and they pay your politicians to lie to you about our healthcare. No one's waiting for things here. Like you go to the ER, you wait for a few hours. Yeah, but that's if you're non-life-threatening injuries. If you go in there and you're bleeding from the ears, you're getting seen right away. In terms of surgeries, nobody waits for dangerous, you get in a car accident, you get surgery right away. I had to wait 1 week for an elective surgery on my shoulder, 1 week. And guess how much I paid? Free.
Canadians of TikTok. Nothing is perfect, but I just wanted to know overall, do you like your universal health care? Let me know.
Yeah, folks, welcome back to the channel, and let's start with the moment that changes everything. Imagine you are in Canada and suddenly you need to go to the hospital. It's not something you have planned. It's not something you have budgeted for. It's just life happening. And in that moment, one of the biggest ideas behind Canada's healthcare system comes into focus. For eligible residents, medically necessary hospital and physician services covered by the public system are generally provided without direct payment, cash to cash, at the point of care. In simple terms, I'm saying you don't normally arrive at the hospital and get asked to pull out your credit card before receiving covered medically necessary care. And that principle alone, folks, is at the heart of the Canada's universal healthcare model. But here's the part that many people don't immediately realize. The system isn't actually free. Let's be very honest here. Canada's fund it through taxes and public spending. So the real question isn't whether healthcare costs anything. Yes, it does, through the taxes they pay, the public spending. The question is how the cost is shared. And when you actually need care, how much you pay directly. Many are saying they only pay the parking, And that distinction changes the entire conversation. What do I mean by that? Because if you suddenly become seriously ill, the financial fear isn't supposed to be first thing standing between you and medically necessary hospital or maybe a physician care covered by the public system. And that's where Canada starts to look very different. I mean, but then the but then comes the next question. Is everything covered? We all know this, not exactly. And this is where the Canadian healthcare story becomes much interesting. Public healthcare generally covers medically necessary hospital and physician services. But things like many prescription drugs outside hospitals, I mean dental care, vision care, and other services may require separate insurance or out of pocket payment, depending on the circumstances. So, no, Canada hasn't created a system where every healthcare expense is automatically covered, but it has built a public foundation around some of the most essential form of medical care. And that foundation alone can prove that something incredible valuable. Starting from security, think about families, think about elderly people, think about someone who suddenly loses their job. Think about someone who has spent years working hard but suddenly faces a medical emergency. Life doesn't give you time to prepare. And that's why universal healthcare is about more than hospitals. It's about what happens when life doesn't go according to your plan. But now, I'm sorry. Let's talk about elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. What this means, it means waiting time. How long should you wait to be served? Because Canada's healthcare system has genuinely challenges, like other countries, some patients face long waits for certain procedures or specialist appointments. Some communities struggle with access to family doctors. Healthcare workers can face enormous pressure, and these are the real issues that Canadians themselves debate every day. So this isn't a story about a perfect system. Get me right. It's a story about a system built on a powerful principle that is still being tested, it's still being improved, and is still being debated. And perhaps, let me say this, that's what makes Canada so interesting. Because despite the challenges, the basic idea remains. Healthcare should be accessible through a universal public system, not simply determined by your personal wealth. Either you are rich or you have money at the time that you are ill. And that is where Canada's experience becomes a conversation that other countries might want to pay attention to. Because for one, every country has to answer the same difficult question. When people get sick, who should carry the burden? Is it the individual? Is it private insurance? Or is it the government? Or maybe some combination of the all three? Let me know what you think in the comment section, because Canada chose a model where the public system plays a central role in ensuring access to medically necessary hospital and physician services. And that choice has become one of the defining features of Canada's society. Maybe, just maybe, that's why the conversation about Canada's health system doesn't end at Canada's border. Because once you understand how the system works, you start looking at your own country differently. You start asking questions. Could healthcare be organized differently? Could access to be expanded? Could people worry less about the financial consequences of getting sick? And suddenly, let me say the truth, Canada's healthcare isn't just a Canadian story anymore. It's an international conversation. So perhaps the most interesting thing about Canada's healthcare system isn't the word free. And let me say it, free. It's not free. You pay it with your taxes. Is the idea of I love the idea behind that name, free. The belief that when life suddenly takes a turn, your ability to receive medically necessary hospital and physician care covered by the public system shouldn't simply depend on the size of your bank account, on the size of your pocket. So forth. Is Canada perfect? Which not? Absolutely not. It's not perfect. Are there waiting times and serious challenges? Yes. Because everybody needs to be served. You can't be served all at once. The third question I would like to ask, are all healthcare services covered? Absolutely, Canada is not perfect. Simply no. But Canada made a choice to build universal healthcare into foundation of its own society. And perhaps that's why this system continues to attract attention. Because sometimes the most powerful ideas aren't the ones that promise perfection. They're the ones that make people stop and ask a question like, what if we tried something different? And maybe that's the real story behind Canada's healthcare system. Not that Canada has all the answers, no, but that it chose to ask a very important question and build the entire healthcare system around its answers. Now I'm curious to hear from you. I'm very curious to hear from you guys. If your country could learn one thing from Canada's healthcare system, what would it be? Let me know in your comment section, and always remember to be respectful. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notification. And also, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace, Canada.